Yeah, you too. I've
Oh,
been
this is
following
so.
you for like,
I know.
gosh, a year. You and Jamie.
I know. It's so nice to see you. Thank you for putting on clothes. I really appreciate it.
Well, it's mainly that my husband's sleeping, so I came outside.
Well, that'll work too. Okay,
Yeah,
so Melissa, let's start at what dose you're on, what medication you're on, how long you've been on it, how much you've lost, and we'll go from there.
sure. So gosh, April of 24. Um,
Same. We're twinsies there.
yeah, April of 24, I was 249. And
249.
yeah, so I help I help deliver babies for a living. And so I know a lot of providers, which makes it really nice because I have no health insurance.
Mm.
So it's just too expensive. Um, Back in the day when we had health insurance, we had to decide whether to keep our house or keep the health insurance because it was more than our mortgage. So
Oh my
I
God.
lost out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, okay, so you've been on it for 2+ years. How you started at 249 to where are you now?
180,
I'm so
180.
excited
So
for you. Oh my God.
yeah,
What
yeah,
dose are you
70
on?
pounds. It feels so much better. Um, so my favorite midwife was able to prescribe it for me.
Hmm.
Because I called her and I was like, I got to do something. I don't want diabetes, and I can't afford diabetes. And
Yeah.
tirzepatide is cheaper than diabetes.
Amen.
Um, yeah, and so she said she would help me out, and we even did like a glucose monitor and stuff just to make sure that I wasn't, that I wasn't on track for diabetes. I was definitely insulin resistant because I've done phentermine.
Hmm.
My husband was in the war in Iraq, so when he was gone, I actually got down to 174 on phentermine.
Yeah.
And then he came back,
Hmm.
and I had two more kids. Um, Jonah, we had decided to have Jonah
That's my
after he
favorite
got back
boy
from
name.
Iraq.
I'm not gonna
Yeah,
have kids, but I always love the name Jonah. Oh.
yeah, Jonah Howard. He's an
Oh,
EMT in Redding, California now. Um,
that's awesome.
but when he was 9 months old, I was like, nothing smells good in this restaurant. And we were 28 days post vasectomy, and I found out about Sammy. So Sam and Jonah are 17 months apart. So
You're
two
like, hey,
kids.
hey, babe. Just want to let you know we shouldn't have
Yeah,
done the
he's
little
like,
jiggity. We shouldn't have done the jiggity mahiggity right before the vasectomy.
right. Well, it was more like, I can't do anything tomorrow for 6 weeks. So yeah, so there was Sammy. He was my favorite surprise. He just
Aw,
left with his girlfriend to open a credit union account.
good
Um,
for them.
so yeah, two more kids. That makes four. And so four kids, was just a lot. And I didn't focus on me.
Hmm.
I focused on whether he was coming back from Iraq alive or not.
Absolutely.
PTSD, it wasn't. Sorry.
Yeah, that's a whole other topic when it comes to our health when and dealing with that kind of stress. Oof.
Yeah, I put myself last,
Hmm.
which I needed to at the time because I had four little kids and
Yeah.
and he was struggling. So um, yeah, so we did that, and just the years passed, and um, I was kind of just a wife and a mom, and I used to be Mormon. I'm not anymore.
Hmm.
Uh, but after that, I just decided that I wanted to be more me than just a wife and a mom, and so I looked into doula work, and I've been helping deliver babies for 16 years now, which is fun. But the more I delivered babies, the more the more sore I got because I'm kind of the one that has to get behind the toilet to give her counter pressure or fold
Right.
into nothing or bend and move, and I have to be able to do all that stuff or I can't do my job effectively.
Yeah.
So
I know a
so
few
I thought,
different doulas here, and that is so. I mean, you're such a giver. I mean, that is a job that is really shows your personality and your like how you feel as a person and a giver. Like I like that. Kudos to you to be doing something like that.
it's there's nowhere that you can be closer to the heaven, than when you're in the room when someone is on their way in or on their way out.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I couldn't be behind a desk and push papers. I don't think I would emotionally survive.
Yeah.
We're both just, we like to be the helpers.
I love that.
My husband now bonds people out of jail, so he's kind of a different helper
Aw.
than I am. But yeah, I love it. And I lost count of how many babies I've been a doula for. I just photographed newborn twins yesterday, so that was way fun.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah,
I love that.
it.
Yeah, it just gives
I
you
love
a
it.
whole different perspective of life, doesn't it?
It
It
really
helps you
does.
to see the bigger picture of things, right? It
Oh
gets you
yeah,
out of your own funk into,
very true.
yeah.
Very true. So
Hmm.
yeah, so I get to focus on me, but I also, it makes me better so I can focus on other people.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so my favorite midwife, she was like, "Yeah, I'll prescribe you tirzepatide." And we have a pharmacy around here that's a compound called Mountain Care Pharmacy.
Okay.
And I was going to them for a while, but they decided to go from your self uh, what's it called, self titrated, where you just get the little bottle,
Sure. Uh-huh.
to just the pens, and just the price shot up per month, and there was no way that I could afford that. And I thought, you know what, I finally found something that worked,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it was working really well, and all of a sudden I couldn't afford it. So that was really stinky.
So what
And
happened
so I
again
told her,
at that point?
uh, oh, so they just went to this, like the
Okay.
pens that were
Okay.
preloaded, and it was more expensive.
Yeah.
So there was no way that I could afford that.
Right.
And so I just started looking around. I ended up going with Brello
Mhm.
because it's like $4.99 for a 3 month supply,
Yeah.
and it's been continuing to work. So
Good. Yeah.
um, yeah, it's delivered from from Texas to Idaho, but it got here in like a day or two. So they're pretty
Good.
good.
Um,
Yeah.
so were you a doula at 249?
Hmm.
All right. So let's get into that.
Yeah, for the
Like
past
how, I
16
know
years.
you
Yeah.
mentioned it a little bit, but how you're able to do your job better after being, getting a little bit more healthier. Like what are the differences that you can see just visually? Like,
Being able to run if somebody's coming in hot.
right.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've only missed, gosh, 2 babies in my entire career that decided to come out real fast when I wasn't there.
Oh
So yeah,
man.
sometimes
Yeah.
they're precipitous, which is crazy. But the one I missed, I remember just feeling so stupid running into the hospital because I couldn't go very fast, and
Mm.
I was completely out of breath, and I also had athletic induced asthma. So my parents smoked my entire life with the doors closed and the windows up, and so which didn't do my sister and I any favors.
Yeah.
And so,
Same with me. And I had the same type of asthma growing up too.
oh
Um,
yeah,
yeah. So I can
yeah,
completely understand that.
yeah. I was part of the dance team, so I was pretty athletic in high school,
Yeah.
and I was 150, and I was like, I gotta get back to 150 because I wanted to be the same weight I was in high school. I don't think that's gonna work at 48,
It's so interesting you say
but
that. A lot of people
I'm going
set
for
themselves
160.
up. A lot of times people set themselves up for failure in that way because they remember a time in their
Hmm.
life that they were a certain weight and they were happy or whatever, right? Whether it be when they first got married or in high school or something. And it's a natural
Right,
way to think, but it's not
right.
necessarily doable. And our bodies being older just
True,
isn't. So be
true.
careful with that. Be careful with that. You're doing really well. At 180, you look fabulous, girlfriend.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
Um,
I realized with this TERS that there's a lot of mind shifting that has to happen too.
yeah.
It's really interesting. So even food wise, I'll think something sounds good, or it would be fun to go out to eat, and it's just not cost effective. You go out to eat, and you eat like a bird,
Yeah.
and it's fun, but it kind of takes the wind out of your sails. Or you think something, you think a candy bar, your brain says, "Oh, that looks good, that'll be good," and you take a bite, and it's really not.
Isn't that
And
interesting?
so there's such an old way of thinking that has to just shift over a long length of time, I think, to be able to think the way you're supposed to.
Yeah.
Just like the one, being at 150. Um, Gosh, back in high school, I wouldn't mind being high school fat. I thought I was chunky back then, and I wasn't. It's just my bone density is higher.
Mhm.
I've got a heavier bone density, and I've always been fairly muscular, and so I've always, you focus so much on the number, and all of my friends were, I'm 120,
I
and I was
know.
always 150, and I was not overweight. I had muscle, and I had heavier bone density, and I was fine, but I was drinking Slim Fast in high school. And so there's been a lot of shift in my mind that has to happen, and just a lot of not panicking when, I used to tell Jamie on lives, like, I gained 2 pounds. What the hell is this crap?
Yeah, yeah.
You know? And he's like, oh, it's just water weight, it's just water weight. And
Yeah.
so, now I don't panic about stuff like that. But at the beginning I sure did.
Yeah.
And, even back in high school. So I mean it's years of just programmed thinking, that needs to shift. And I grew up with a mom that, I love her, but like my mom's side of the family, we tend to be very heavy. Um, my aunt is very heavy. She's got rheumatoid arthritis.
Hmm.
My mom's on Ozempic now because she saw how well tirzepatide was working for me, and that's working pretty well for her. But I mean, in the 80s, I was born in 78, so in the 80s, we were just teaching ourselves to be type 2 diabetic. I mean, I grew up watching her eat rice cakes and Melba toast,
Yeah.
fat-free yogurt, all
Yeah.
that crap.
Yeah.
And it never worked back then. And, now that so many of us are like type 2 or near that.
Yeah. I
So that's kind of
know.
the mindset I grew up with, and just hating, like despising fat. And, I think that just that idea came from my mom's side of the family because they were just struggling to want to be normal. And now it's, even though I have 20 pounds to go, or, 20-ish, 30 in my high school mind, we just want to be normal. So it feels way better to feel normal.
God, isn't it? How is it done for your food noise? Like, explain that in your way. People always ask, well, what is food noise, and what is that to everybody? Like, tell me what food noise is to you and explain it, and like give an example so people can understand.
I think the difference is, if I want a Krispy Kreme, I go down the road and I get a Krispy Kreme, and I maybe eat half of it and like, okay, I'm done.
Hmm.
Yay for me. But back then I would get, like a box of Krispy Kreme because it was, you know, I had 4 kids with me too, so I'm like, who wants one?
Yeah.
Um, and they're all skinny. Their knees are bigger than their thighs. Um,
Yeah.
but we would certainly get more, and we would just eat all of them, and that would be like the meal. So if I want something like that these days,
Yeah.
I would have a
Absolutely.
protein shake, and maybe something to satisfy whatever craving, because I think it's the difference is, like, if you crave something these days, it's a craving, you recognize it as a craving, and you eat
Yeah.
a bite or two. um but back then, if my craving was a box of Thin Mints from the Girl Scouts, which was my favorite thing, it would be the difference between eating a box, or because with those, you don't, I mean,
You just eat the
I
whole
didn't really
thing.
want to stop at one
Yeah, I
because they
mean,
were
for
my
me,
favorite
it's
thing.
like I felt so out of control when my food noise was
Hmm.
there. Like I felt like I had zero control. I was uh addicted to that obsessiveness with food. So let's say for instance those cookies. I mean, if I tried, I would have like three and I'd go away and I'd leave the box over here, whatever. But the whole
Hmm.
entire time I'm obsessing and thinking about that box in there. I could not focus on what I was doing. I had to give in to this addiction. And that's to me what food noise was. And so Without it, I can have that craving. And I think it's important to talk about it, like craving versus food noise. Because people think, well, I craved a burger today. That's okay. You had the burger, but then you stopped thinking about it or whatever. You had a half of it and you stopped thinking about it and you were able to move on from that obsessive feeling. That is what is important to understand, that you could still have that craving of food. Because that's, guys, food is meant to be enjoyed. We can have things, but it's that obsessiveness where you feel like you have no control over it. That's what.
Right. And it's kind of nuanced between everybody. It's
absolutely,
it can be a little different between people.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to, I mean, even if I put something up high, I'm only 5'6", so even if I put something up high, you know where it is in the house. So it's not like it's not an out of sight, out of mind thing.
Right.
You know, yeah, I don't know. It's just it's different. It's between an obsession and, when I first started this, I thought, oh, I thought of something that sounded good, and I would worry about it because I'm like, is that food noise? If something just sounds
And
good.
people tell me that all the
so
time.
really
They're worried.
Differentiate between the two. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. So that's why I say, guys, from early on, it's good to understand how our body works. It's good to understand that hunger is okay. It's good to get that kind of thinking and education on how the body works and how we're supposed to feel, because we don't want to have to live like, wait, is this wrong? Is this bad? Is this not good? Is this, it's easy. It's just nice to be able to understand that. So that's why we come on here and we try to tell people, listen, it's okay. Talk with a dietitian, get some therapy, understand the hunger's okay. Like, understand these fundamental things about our body so that we don't feel like
or even
pressure.
Emotional triggers.
Yeah.
Even emotional triggers, and give yourself the time to learn about all that stuff, because there's so many facets of needing to learn, whether it's food or cravings or emotional stability, or am I eating because I'm bored? Am I eating because I want to fit in at a restaurant when I'm out with my friends?
Right.
Am I eating because I don't want to make my mom feel bad because she went to all this trouble to make an entire cake for my birthday,
Right.
Stuff like that.
Right. Absolutely. So how is the dynamic now between your kids? I know they're older and doing their thing, and your husband per se. Like, how's that working for you? Like, how's that gone? Just with, your new lifestyle and everything.
I don't know. In some respects, it's kind of a payoff. Like when I go to the hospital, there's a nurse that hasn't seen me in a while. She's like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't even recognize you." And oh, thanks. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because my kids and my husband don't care, or they like to put the exclamation point on the fact that they don't care. They didn't care how I looked back then. They don't care how I look now, because I'm accepted either way, which is, the idea is really nice. And so they're supportive in that way. My husband probably will end up with diabetes because he's, I can see in him what I used to be, and he's not. He's lost weight. They've had him on sema before. Mm-hmm. But I think the difference is he's like, I'm taking this medication, so now I can do what I want because the medication will fix it. Mm-hmm. And so that's a hard thing too, to not rely on the medication to fix you without you having to do any of the work in the backyard, if that makes any sense. Mm. Like any of the work in your mind, any of the work in the way you do things, in your habits. Because if you don't put that work in, you just rely on the medication to fix you. Mm-hmm. Those are the people that you see online that's like, this worked for a while and now I'm off of it because I wanted to save money and all my weight came back. Well, the weight came back because you didn't fix anything in the meantime. The weight came back because you didn't study your triggers, and you didn't differentiate between food noise and like, am I just craving a couple bites of something? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I can't afford the weight to come back mentally or physically or financially. I can't afford that. So I've really had to try and shift my mind. But man, thinking a certain way for 48 years of your life and then trying to shift that in a year, that's a lot. And so you really just have to give yourself time too, and time to create those habits. It takes 3 months to solidify one habit after the next. And I feel like it's 3 months per habit. You can't just shift everything overnight. My trouble now is resistance stuff. Number one, because I hate it. Like if I, with those gardening and moving the garden bag, the bags of dirt and the bags of mulch and everything, that I try to have as my resistance training.
Absolutely. And it is. Are you kidding?
It has to be sustainable for me.
And that's the thing. That's the point. It has to be something that you are willing to do, that you enjoy, and that's sustainable for you. Absolutely.
I can't say I enjoyed it. My back
but
didn't enjoy
the
it.
outcome,
Yes.
the outcome of your labor.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that we talk about, just a minute ago, that patience is needed. And same with any sort of thing that you may not care for or you don't think you like resistance training. Like, again, if we try to do everything all at once, it's gonna blow up in our face. So if you want to try to do some sort of resistance training, do it in a way that you will be able to sustain, whether that's even just one day a week for 20 minutes or 10, right? Something that's going to help you progress.
Well, and with my job too, I mean, somebody will go into labor at 3 a.m. and that's my resistance training. So I'll go to the hospital and I'm the physical person. I do all the counter pressure. And so, my arms are pretty strong.
Yeah.
But it's very on and off. It's not very consistent with regards to building muscle and stuff. So I've got to find something sustainable at home that I can do with regards to resistance training. It can't be just, I moved some garden bags today and then somebody went into labor next Thursday. It's probably not enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna have to find something that you can commit to once or twice a week.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so that's figure that out.
And it's hard to get enough protein. Like when my midwife started me on this tirzepatide, I mean, she just was telling me, what the thing was at the time was you just start off on the small dose, then every 4 weeks, you went up until you get to the max dose. And that's what I did. I didn't, by the time I was listening to you say that, if the dose is working for you, stay on it as long as you can. I didn't have that luxury because I didn't know. You only know what you know at the time you know it. So I ended up being at the full dose, and so I can't really do a whole lot now other than resistance stuff and getting my protein up to change my stall. So I'm not sure if the 2-month stall is normal, but I imagine it is. If in a year I'm 70 down, then your body has to be like, wait a minute.
Oh, yeah, and that's a really great loss for a year. So absolutely, yeah, just give it some time. Give it some time. Keep working on that foundation.
At the time, I wasn't sure what was normal.
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to the whole dynamic between a partner, whether they're on the medication or not. You were talking about your husband kind of just on the meds and not really doing his other part of, the foundation that I call. I know that there are people like this in the chat that have either a girlfriend, a boyfriend, husband, wife, whatever, and they want to help that person, right? They want to, but we can be, we can let everything kind of down when we're close to somebody, right? Our guard down, and we can kind of say things not the best, right? So how, in your experience, how do you feel like you could help your husband, and how have you done it? And maybe in the past it didn't work so well. Like, give us some advice to when you have that kind of dynamic.
Well, he's a stubborn Army vet.
Okay. Yeah.
How far do you think I'm going to get with that? No, he was on Sema because he had to lose weight because he had shallow hip joints. So he's actually half metal now. He's had 2 hip replacements, 2 years apart each. And so I helped him through that, but he didn't have any choice. He had to lose weight or they would not do the surgery. And oftentimes people that need hip replacements, they make them last, especially in the military, they make them go as long as they can on their hips, as much pain as they're like, go as far as you can. And when you can't stand it anymore, then we'll do it. Yeah. And so, then they say that the recovery from that surgery is less painful than living with the hip pain every day. And he got to that point. And so it was something that he had to do. And you know, if I told him he had to do it, the more you tell him he's got to do something, the more he'll stick his heels in.
Yeah.
And not do it.
Most people, I think, too,
It's
like
just, I mean,
in that family dynamic.
Always been that way.
I mean, you know, even like with my mom right now, like I can be just like, what are you thinking? Because we just, you know each other so much that you just kind of say things like that. And then of course they're not going to listen to you, but someone else can say the exact same thing possibly. And then they listen, right?
Yep.
So it's just so interesting. So how has that been? Like, have you found yourself kind of like, listen, what are you thinking? And then you realize, okay, I shouldn't say it like that, or just, I mean, how does that dynamic work with you guys?
Well, it's easy to get frustrated because you have to live with people that don't need to, or don't, like, they have their own autonomy, so they can do whatever they want. And it's hard because you need people to support what you're eating and what you need to eat, and not have crap in the house. And then, you're like, you're eating, why are you eating candy? Because, I'd find myself sometimes wanting some. I mean, if it's right after shot day, I'm like, nah, that doesn't sound good.
Right.
And then I'm proud of myself for it not sounding good.
Right.
Because I'm like, beforehand, I would have been like, all right, fine, hand me a handful.
Yeah.
But, everybody's on their own journey. And so I've had to kind of separate myself in some way from that. Just because I can't make him do anything that he doesn't want to do. He's in the middle of 9 kids too. And a lot of them are brothers. And so you can't tell him anything. He's going to do what he's going to do. Yeah. And so I think for the most part, like with my mom and with my aunt, it just mainly living by example and having somebody go, oh, what are you doing? And then you can kind of lead them rather than try and arm wrestle them into something that you need them or want them to do.
And that's with life in general. Lead by example, right? And that's the best way. Does he sometimes feel like, I don't know what the word is, like not jealous of you, or just kind of, does he ever have those moments where he because you're doing so well, like he kind of projects onto you or anything like that? Does that ever happen? I don't know.
Not that I've noticed.
Okay.
No, he's really his own. He's really his own entity.
Okay.
He does what he wants when he wants. He's a tough army guy that's been through war. So I mean,
yeah,
you can't really tell those guys anything. He is very strong. He has a lot of muscle. It's mainly the grandpa belly that he needs to get rid of.
Yeah.
My daughter used to pat him on the stomach when she was littler and say, "That's your poison, Dad." Which it's true. That's nothing I ever said. But yeah, I mean, when they were in away for the war too, I mean, they would feed them fried stuff. They don't feed them over there very well. And so he came back significantly overweight.
Right.
And we should feed them better as a country, right? Because that's what they deserve. But yeah, it wasn't that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, so, and he's just, you've got to get to the point yourself. It's like an addict. You've got to get to the point where you're like, I cannot do this anymore. And you can't get, my dad's an alcoholic. I mean, you can't tell anybody anything. He's got to get to the point where, he's either going to die like that, or he has to get sick of himself enough to change.
You have to hit your rock bottom, whatever that is for you. So, when you look back, what is the most proud moment that you have in your journey specifically through yourself over this course of time getting treated? You have anything specific?
I think just starting in general, because when you get to, I mean, I was 249. It was bad enough for me being 5'6", right? But, I just didn't want to get to the point where other family members have gotten to where they feel so hopeless that it's, you just think it's never going to change because it wears you out to go somewhere, or somebody wants to go on a hike and you're like, that is the last thing I want to do in this life. It's
right.
Go on a hike. And I didn't want to be like that. I wanted to be there for my grandkids. I mean, I've got 2 grandbabies now. And I didn't want to not have any energy for them. I didn't want to not be around for them. In my mom's side of the family, there's a tendency not to be just overweight, but also heart disease. My grandfather passed away at 74. He had a massive heart attack, and he was actually the first person in the Boise, St. Luke's downtown to have an 8 bypass heart surgery
Explain
because his
that.
heart was so bad. 8 bypass, so they take veins from your thighs
Okay.
to be able to build your arteries. And there are a lot of people that have 2, 3, 4 bypass, but he had an 8 bypass heart surgery. So they had to fix 8, from what I understand, 8 veins in his heart. His heart was so bad that he could have been on the transplant list for a heart transplant, but they didn't tell him that. And he ended up passing away, so that left my grandma alone for over 20 years. And she didn't even know how to get gas herself. Like, he would do everything for her. And so she essentially had to learn how to live her life again.
Yeah.
And I remember her, she would get so mad at him because he had the big belly and the bad heart. And, just like any other old man, I mean, his belly was him being overweight. He had little stick legs and stick
Right.
arms, but he had a big belly.
Mhm.
But, she'd want to feed him bran cereal, and he would drive over to the nearest bacon and eggs restaurant and have bacon and eggs, and she would be so mad at him because she just couldn't make him do anything either. And he was an old Army vet.
Yeah.
He did what he wanted. And she passed away. So I started the tours in April, and she passed away in May. And so part of that weight loss, I think, was grief, because she raised me. So she was basically my mom. And it's still really hard to be without her. She was gone May 9th a year. And I was there. I had my hand on her chest, and I felt her last heartbeat because she was scared to die. And I promised her that I would be there when she passed away. And it was the hardest thing that I've ever done. But the first thing she was going to do was go find him and
Smack
have
him.
a conversation with him about it. Yeah.
Oh
Because she
my
had to be alone
God.
for 20 years.
Ugh.
So,
Ugh. Well,
yeah. And
I'm
I
so
just
sorry
don't
for
want
that.
to be, I
Yeah,
don't want to be like that.
absolutely. Oh, that's hard. So today, these days, what is bringing you the most joy when it comes to life in general? Now being able to move like you do, what brings you joy today?
Oh gosh, just being, I go on a walk with my son and my grandbaby,
Mm.
and mainly because he's a busy kid. He's like 9 months, and he's actually taught himself to walk. 9 months. And so we would go on a walk to the park, and I remember, not even counting how many times we would go around a mile, and thinking, just being so happy that I'm like, I'm not even counting. I don't know how long we've been here. I'm not even out of breath. And just having it feel so normal, but being so excited to feel so normal.
Mm. Right.
I don't know. I mean, it sounds funny. I'm hyper flexible. And
Okay.
so I can fold myself into things that I wouldn't have been able to before. And I love crossing my legs, which is
I
great.
know. Isn't that the
Instead of
most,
crossing my ankle over my knee. Yay.
look at you, girlfriend. You look great. I love
Yeah.
it. Oh,
Yeah. I love being able to bend, just like bend and move like you
bend
should
and
be able to do, but it's been such a long time that I hadn't been able to do it. And not dread when somebody says, let's go on a walk, or not dread when somebody says, let's go on a hike.
yeah.
Yeah, not dread the things that I used to before, and just being able to live like normal. And it's kind of frustrating because, we should all be able to be normal. Like my sister's completely different than me. And she's like, my dad is a stick and has no hips, and she's the same way. And I just remember being frustrated because I could eat, she can eat whatever she wants and stay a stick. And I would just, I was more like the number 8.
I
So
know.
it's just, yeah,
It just
being
shows
in the
you
same
though
family and
how it's not our fault, really. It's not, it's just kind of this
right,
biology, genetics, and then this disease that is
right.
so nuanced for everybody. Uh, well,
Yeah.
Mellisa, I appreciate you coming up. Is there anything that you want to say before we end this that we didn't say anything that we didn't talk about that you want to let the people know?
I mean, I think we talked about it before, but just give yourself time. I
Mhm.
mean, at the beginning I didn't give myself time. I got easily frustrated, I easily panicked, and I think when you're trying to lose weight for so long, or when you've tried all these different avenues, and now this new GLP-1 comes up, and you're like, well, this is just another way for me to fail.
Mm.
And I was excited at first because I saw how everybody else was excuse me, doing so well on it. And I thought, okay, maybe this actually will work. And watching it work, but then even watching it work, you're still panicked that it's gonna like not work one day.
Mhm.
It's
Right.
gonna stop working. Is my body gonna get used to this? And I still find myself thinking that way
Mhm.
because I've been stuck at 180 for since April. And trying to just, it's like anything else where you keep shifting your mind and not panicking about, I would weigh myself every single Friday because Friday was my shot day.
Mhm.
And if it was a week that I didn't lose, I'd be like, crap, what did I do wrong? And so that was hard for me, and just shifting my mind to going, okay, my body probably has to just rearrange the living room because the living room's gotten smaller. And so that was my thought process. Okay, we're rearranging the living room again because I didn't lose any weight this week.
I
Or,
love that.
my muscles were sore, I would say, well, just like Jamie, it's just inflammation because there's no way that you can
Yeah.
gain a pound, because I didn't eat a pound, worth of calories.
Right.
Yeah.
So that part of that you're saying, be patient, it takes time. So what
Yes.
would you say to someone right now that if someone said, what was like a sentence or just a statement? If someone said, oh, I'm worried that this is not going to work and I haven't lost this week or whatever. What's your best advice, takeaway statement that you could give to someone?
I will say what I say with my clients that are scared to be in labor. I would say information is 100% power. Information is power. The more you learn about it, the more you train your brain about it,
Mm-hmm.
the better your reactions are going to be. Because it's, for me, it's actually similar to labor. Oxytocin, the love hormone,
Mm-hmm.
adrenaline will fight it. So if a mom is 37 weeks, and it drives me nuts to read online where it's like, I'm 37 weeks, what can I do to convince my body to go into labor? Wait longer. Your body's going to go into labor when it's ready. Your body's going to lose weight when it's ready. It's got to rearrange the living room first. You will go into labor when you're ready. When you learn about things, and you learn to wait, and you learn to be patient, and you learn what your body is mechanically trying to do, it's going to give you patience for it.
Yeah.
And when you have patience for it, your cortisol, your adrenaline's not going to rise. If you rise your stress hormone, then your body is going to think it's in danger. It's not going to go into labor, and it's not going to lose weight when you're like, okay, it's telling me that you're afraid somewhere. I'm not going to do what I need to do because we're afraid. We're either going to need to kick some ass or run away.
Yeah.
And so you just have to have patience for the process. And that's the thing that is the hardest for pregnant women, because when you're at the end of your pregnancy, you're like, I'm so done.
Right.
I feel like I'm holding a bowling ball in my rear end.
Yeah.
And every movement reminds you that you're pregnant. Every movement reminds you that you're fat. Every move, it hurts to move. It hurts to walk. It hurts to go to the bathroom. I'm so out of shape. I'm so out of breath. I'm whatever
Yeah.
you want, whatever you normally say to yourself. But your body is not going to move. It's not going to go into labor, and it's not going to lose weight when it's afraid of something. And so you just have to have patience, and patience is not one of my strongest suits. I really had to learn that.
I love you sharing that. Thank you for that explanation. It's very cool.
Yeah.
to put those
Yeah.
two things together like that. And that's what we talk about, right? Patience, and our body is shifting, and we've got to be understanding and getting education on how the body works. And once we get that, and once we know this is going to take years and it's an adventure for life, and it helps us. It helps us mentally to get through it. Right.
It's helpful, but it's, guaranteed that the 84 people in here, that's the last thing that they want to hear.
Yeah, absolutely.
Patience. I didn't want to hear it either. I didn't want to hear it because it sucks. I wanted it all gone right now.
Absolutely.
Just like I want those 20 pounds gone right now.
That's why I think mindset and how we talk to ourselves is the most important thing. And it's hard to do, but it's something that we have to keep doing and have to really work on every single day. Change that change the negative thoughts to a positive thought. And it's hard.
I'll tell you what, it's every 5 minutes sometimes.
Yeah.
Every 5 minutes, because when you're used to thinking that way for, like I said, 48 years, it could be every single thought in your head, you've got to shift it to something new.
You have to.
And it has to become a habit. Yep. And I'm still working on it.
We're always going to be working on it. Always.
Right. And just like the whole weight loss journey, even when you get to your goal weight, I think it's something that you still, in your mind, you still have to work on it until the day you're gone. Because
absolutely.
You have to train your mind into something new, and that's just not. It's a lifetime thing. Yep. And I think that's the hardest thing that I've had to try and do is just know that it's a lifetime thing, because sometimes, especially when you're at the beginning, it's so exhausting because you're so full of habit. I would go into the kitchen and grab something and think, wait a minute, I'm not even hungry. Why do I have this? Right. And not even think about it until it's in your mouth or in your hand. Yeah. I mean, I used to have to throw things away, and I think, well, it's better to waste money than being fat. But I mean, even like Christmas, people would bring us like a plate full of goodies, and I would have to be very grateful for it, and then sneak it to the trash after everybody went to bed, just so I wouldn't get into it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I know it's hard. It's hard. Our mental state is hard because we want to like start something, and then we just want to be able to like finish and have this moment of, okay, we're done. Now I can relax. Well, there is no relaxing. There isn't.
Right. I'm afraid the minute I relax, I'm just going to go right back to where I was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we
Whether
got to
it's
keep
in your
moving
mind
on.
or in your body or both. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mellisa, for coming up.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you for putting clothes on.
Sure.
I'm just kidding. All right. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I'm going to put you down in the chat.
Sure.
Do you mind if I put this on YouTube?
No, that's fine.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much, Mellisa. Everybody is saying thank you in the chat. I appreciate you so much.
Sure. You're welcome.
All right. We'll talk later. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.